Alright, so this is just gonna compare the WNS full travel kit mod versus I can even get this off. The full travel kit WNS rapid fire spring modification thing. This is really stuck on there, which is a nice sign. Once I get it off, I'll show y'all. There we go. Get the spring off. Come on. There we go. That's the spring. Take off the little base, and I'll show you exactly what I did. I don't have a unmodified rapid fire kit to show you. Since I did this mod, basically right here is the spring perch. It's usually maybe that much longer, maybe 1/4 inch longer. Basically I cut it and then I filed it down because originally there was a lip right here which would stop the spring from going any further, but I made it so the spring now sits on there, so it sits further back, as well as being cut down allows the bolt to come back further. Other than that, it's unmodified. Here's the original rubber buffer that it comes with. So this is all gonna be dry fire, no BBs. So before you all get into a fit why I'm not wearing iPro, but yeah, I'm not firing any BBs. So I'm gonna show you first how the kit functions stock with just a regular WNS Fire full travel kit. So originally it comes with a rubber buffer. I'm gonna install it. There we go. As you see, full travel. This is running off of a green gas mag converted to CO2, so I can now fill it with a regular CO2 tank. So that's called the Devil Hunter mod. Now, as you can see, no BBs. Just gonna show the rate of fire without the rapid fire kit in it. So here it is without the kit. You know, still pretty nice rate of fire. I like it, but it is a little bit slower. Now, take this rubber piece out. Which is kind of a pain in the ass, especially since it has some lube on it. There we go. Basically just unthreads. There's a little hole right here. And I'm gonna take the spring. I'm just gonna put it on the little spring perch or whatever you want to call it. I'm just gonna thread this in now. Once it's fully threaded in, just give it a nice push on the spring to make sure it's all seated correctly. Now, like I said, the original spring perch, the metal bar that the spring sits in or sits on, usually comes out to about here. And then the spring itself would then sit out to about here. So it actually would disable the full travel because you have that big heavy buffer spring, I guess you could call it. So we installed it. Now, originally the bolt would only come back to about here. So I wasn't able to use the full travel kit selector bolt hold open, whatever you want to call it. But now I can still use it. And with it installed, put it back to full auto, you can now see the rate of fire increases. So I'm not firing BBs, so I'm not going to use the chrono to show you the exact rate of fire on this thing. I know without the full travel kit, I think I was getting about, I want to say like 17 rounds a second or like 12 rounds a second. With this, I'm probably around like 18, maybe 20. I have a chrono, but I'm not going to put BBs through it. This thing shakes so much, I don't really trust the rounds per second through the chrono. But feel free to go skip back to the first full auto and then go back to this, and you'll see a definite boost in recoil. The recoil, or not the recoil, but the rate of fire. But the rate of fire without a modified WNS spring or rapid fire spring kit, as you get it from the website, you throw the spring on the perch and you thread it in, that compared to what the modifications I did, like I showed you, how it's been cut down and the spring has been cut down a little bit so it sits further back. Instead of sitting about here, it's sitting down here. So you do lose a little bit of rate of fire compared to how it was originally, but you still, as you saw, get a boosted rate of fire compared to just having the rubber buffer. It's up to you if you want to do that. Like, I think, my personal opinion, the rate of fire has increased enough that I'm happy with it. But I was actually fine with how the rate of fire was originally. I got this spring kit from a friend of mine. I'm not going to give his name. I don't know if he wants me to, but I got it from a friend. He got an extra one. He sent it to me. So technically, I really didn't pay for it. I've sent him some money for shipping, but other than that, he sort of just gave it to me. If this is something you want to do, you do this on your own. I'm not liable for whatever happens. But it's a simple mod. It just involves you with a Dremel. I use a Sawzall, a little overkill, but if you want, just take a Dremel, cut down the middle spring perch. And I literally cut, as you can see, maybe 1 or 2 coils from the bottom of the spring, just so it sits far enough where I can still utilize the bolt hold open. But that's how it is. Feel free to skip back and compare both of the recoils side by side. But that's basically how it shoots now. So I definitely get a boost in rate of fire, as you saw, but compared to how you have the rapid fire kit to begin with, you do lose a little bit of rate of fire. But like I said, it's a good middle ground between a super boost and rate of fire, and then you have the regular rubber, which is almost a huge decrease in rate of fire, and then you have mine, which is the middle ground of rate of fire. So take it as you is or as you want, but that's what I did. So as you see, I still have the spring in there, the rapid fire spring, and it's a little harder to push back to lock back the bolt because you're pushing on that spring manually, and it's a pretty stiff spring, but I can still lock it back, and I'm happy.